Okay, we're from Bevins Elementary. We're a K-5 school here in Pike County. Our project is a little bit different. We are not one that received a mini grant. We are part of the Appalachian Leadership Laboratory. So just a little bit about that. That is a project by the Kentucky Valley Cooperative made possible by the Race to the Top funding. And the mission is to build a shared leadership capacity in teacher leaders, principals, and central office administrators, as well as bringing in community support. So this summer, we joined up with the Appalachian Leadership Lab, and we're here to kind of tell you a little bit about the work that we've been able to do with that this year. So as we mentioned, my name is Amy Sweeney. I'm the principal, and this is Danielle Master. She is a special education teacher and the teacher leader at my school. So at this time, I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about our problem of practice.
Our problem of practice, of course, all teachers, we all strive to be accomplished in all areas of teaching. With our walkthrough data that the principal came, in our classrooms, our PGP, our professional growth plans, and through PLC discussions, we realized that our weakest area as teachers were 3C. There was a lot of really good things going on in the classroom, and our students were busy, working hard, and things like that, but we weren't, authentically and actively engaging all students in the classroom. So we started with our vertical PLCs. We have a teacher from every grade level, K through 5, and also a special education teacher in each math and then an ELA PLC. And we worked together and, with professional developments and things like that, we all developed our strategies in like an online toolbox that, some places that we could reference ways to engage students, and then we can share what we did with each other in our PLCs. And so we created an online toolbox that all the teachers could just add things as they found, something that worked well in their classroom, and then we all put it on this online toolbox that all the teachers could share.
So before we talk about how we revised our problem of practice and what action steps we've taken, if you'll go on to the next slide. All of you should have a handout, and hopefully the QR codes work. I had a free trial for another a presentation that I did, and I found out, my codes died, so yesterday or the day before, so I redid those. So you should be able to scan that, and if you'll go on to the next slide, that will take you to the Pike County Schools walkthrough instrument, and there are 6 areas that we look at, looking at learning targets. If you'll go on to the next one, active engagement. And at the bottom, you'll notice that there's success criteria for what the teacher and the student would do and what that would look like in the classroom. All right, the next one is questioning, and we have a questioning matrix to kind of look at the levels of questioning. And then the next one is formative assessment. And then we look at student feedback. And the last one is technology, and then the classroom, positive and conducive to learning. All of those align to the Danielson framework, so any teachers, that is the current framework that we use to evaluate our teachers. So we, in our district, we do these daily or weekly walkthroughs using this instrument, and of course, as Ms. Master said, everybody wants to be a 3. Everybody wants to be really good at that, and we were focusing strictly on just 3C, active engagement. And so I'll let her tell you a little bit about how we kind of, or am I doing that one? Am I doing that one? Okay. So kind of what happened is, as a principal, as I started collecting this data, I realized that the teachers wanted to get better in areas more than just the active engagement. So if you'll go on, this is our theory of action. Then what happened was I had I'm doing this data, this walkthrough, but I didn't really have a way of collecting that and looking at real-time data. So if you look at the next slide, we developed with some collaboration with someone from the P3 project with KDE, a document that I can come and all I have to do is insert the date of the walkthrough, the grade level, and put if the teacher got a 3, 2, 1 or whatever. And then it tallies all of this data, and I have real-time data to know how are we doing as this whole school in formative assessment, or how are we doing with 3C, which is, our active engagement, or how are we doing with feedback? And so I had real-time data for that. And so one of the trends that I saw was that, if you'll look at the next slide, go back one more. my graph's gone. But anyway, if you'll notice, or one thing that we noted was that, like, learning targets, we were a 3.0 in August, and then it continued to decline. I think it went to a 1.8 average, and we're like, oh, red flag, So we began to use not only this process that we developed to increase 3C, but to look at the other areas as well. So some of the things that we did is our district, we have non-traditional instructional days, which I'm sure some of your districts do too. So where teachers come to school for 4 hours on these days, so we were able to make use of those PD. Use those as PD time for our staff. We had a total of 5 with 4 hours. That's 20 hours of PD. One of the things we did is we also sent some teachers to the Kagan trainings. We had 2 sets of teachers to go to Kagan training to help build that active engagement. We also our district partnered with PIMSR to do some student engagement activities, and then our teachers would come back and they would train through those vertical PLCs. As Ms. Master said, we have a K through 5 math PLC and a K through 5 reading PLC or ELA PLC that meets once a week, and so we're able to do all of that professional learning, and we don't stay after school, so we're able to do that through those PLCs. Another thing is, like I mentioned, the learning targets slipped, so we developed we developed an organizer to look at, are we aligning this to the standard? Are we posting it? Are we communicating it with the students? Are our activities aligned? And that took a couple of months probably for our PLC to work through that. And then we saw a great increase again in our learning targets. Formative assessment was another area that we kind of noted. So we did one of the NTI days. We did some work based on Williams' book, Embedded Formative Assessment. And so another thing that we did is, in looking at that document, we wanted to make sure that we had some cohesiveness. And so the two of the schools in my area, Belfry High School and Southside Elementary, are also in the Appalachian Leadership Lab. So we kind of got together and we did walkthroughs. The principals, the administrators, the assistant principals and principals did walkthroughs. We got to do at least 2 of the schools, and we have plans to do the others. And we would go out as administrators in groups of 2, go in and observe a classroom. We had time built in so that after we came out of the classroom, we had about 5 minutes transition before we went to the next class. And we could kind of talk as administrators. Is this what you saw? Did you rate this person as a 3 in questioning? No, I rated it as a 2. Well, why? And we had this discussion to kind of build that cohesiveness with the walkthrough. So that was another thing that we did. So basically, our project was focused on 3C, improving active engagement, and we have taken care of that, but we also, our teachers were so eager to improve in the other areas that we've kind of used the same process to increase those areas as well. So I'll let Ms. Masters tell you about our future plans.
The PLCs are going to continue to use the feedback from our walkthrough instruments to really focus our learning in our discussions in those vertical PLCs. And another thing that we really want to do too is we want to tailor our peer observations, kind of not just in our school, but as Ms. Sweeney was talking about, if there's a teacher at the high school who's really good, in questioning or formative assessment, to go observe them and vice versa. So really tailor those peer observations, and it's not just something else that you have to do for, your TPGS and things like that. And we're going to continue with our toolbox of strategies. So not just active engagement strategies in there, but also with the other domains of teaching as well. Yep, and I think that's our project.
And the last slide, there is some contact information. So if any of the QR codes, if there's anything you heard today that you would like more information about, there's how you can contact us.